So, welcome to part two of the mole rat. We are still talking about mole rat. We are, I am explaining about the mole rat and how some additional traits improvise uncleanliness. In part one, we are talking about why I believe the Lord had specifically picked this animal, the mole rat. We are coming from Leviticus chapter 11, verse 29. Now we going back to the mole rat. Remember, I was telling you the facts about the mole rat and what the Lord can be saying to us spiritually with him. Okay, our spirit man. What did he really saying? Because it's really not about what we think, but God uses things in the Bible such as for metaphor. He using things, symbols, signs, animals. It's deep with him. This remind you, this is a time before Jesus had came. So we're going back to the mole rat just to set the scene, right? So we finish back to the facts about the mole rat. They are the longest living rodents, and they live up to 35 years. Rodents usually don't live that long. The scientists are so fascinated of these animals, they keep these animals in labs around the world to understand and see how they are living that long. But they believe it's due to the fact that their living environment is totally different from ours where they live. They live underground. Underground, they lack of oxygen. So they live in places underground where the oxygen is 5%, and we live in an environment where it's 20%. So they are living at an oxygen level is a quarter percent of what we are dealing with. But that's not a good thing because when your oxygen low, they are moving slower. They moving slow. The more oxygen you get, you move fast. So they are living, but they moving at a slow pace. Now keep that in mind. So back to what this could be meaning to us spiritually. Now, long jeopardy in harsh conditions. Scientists are fascinated that the mole rat lives so long compared to other rodents. They believe that this longevity comes from their extreme environments, not healthy ones. Do you understand? Now, when you look at this in a spiritual term, right? In the spiritual eyes, sometimes we look like long life in the world is really just survival mode in harsh, unnatural condition. It's not true life, but endurance in darkness. Jesus said, I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly. John chapter 10, verse 10. And God's design for his people is not just to exist or survive in dark environments, but to thrive in the light. And another reason what he's really saying about the low oxygen environment. Remember, I told you the mole rat is living longer, but it's due to the environment and at a lower pace because the oxygen level 5% underground, and now it's 20%, like a quarter. Is operating over basically survival mode. But listen, low oxygen environment, 5% versus 20%. Only about a quarter of what humans breathe, yet they adapt to this lack. They adapt to this lack. When you look at this spiritually, oxygen represents the breath of God. Now stay with me. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, and Ezekiel chapter 37, verses 5 to 6. Look that up. Now, living with only 5% oxygen is like trying to live without the fullness of God's Spirit. You understand me? People can adapt to a low level of God presence, but they are not truly alive. God calls us to live in the fullness of his spirit. Do you understand me? Not just barely breathing in spiritual survival.